I discovered a heartbreaking secret about my husband. What will I do? I'm seeking advice on a complicated situation I've found myself in. I've been married to my husband for 5 years, and our relationship seemed to be filled with love and trust. But recently, I stumbled upon something that has left me shattered. A few weeks ago, while tidying up our home office, I found a sealed envelope tucked away in a drawer. Curiosity got the best of me, and I opened it, expecting to find something mundane. However, what I discovered inside was a series of love letters addressed to my husband from an anonymous sender. The letters were filled with romantic prose, and they hinted at a deep connection between my husband and this mysterious person. Naturally, I was devastated and confused. I couldn't believe that my husband had been receiving secret love letters. I decided to confront him about it, and after a heated conversation, he finally confessed to what's been going on. Apparently, he had been in contact with a close friend from his childhood, a girl he used to have a crush on. She had reached out to him, and their conversation soon turned romantic. He assured me that he had never met up with her or taken things beyond text messages, but the emotional betrayal cut deep. Now, I'm at a crossroads. I love my husband, and he expressed sincere remorse for his actions. He promised to cut all ties with this person, and he is willing to go to couples therapy to rebuild our relationship. However, I'm struggling with the betrayal and the fact that he kept this hidden from me. I want to believe that we can work through this, but the trust has been damaged. How do I move forward and rebuild our relationship? Has anyone been in a similar situation, and what steps did you take to heal the wounds and regain trust? I'm looking for advice from the community on how to navigate this difficult situation and make the best decision for our marriage and my own emotional well-being. Thank you for your support and guidance. Comment. I think first you need to come to terms with trickle truthing. This is where the cheater only admits to the part you already know. Take his electrics and install keystroke recorders and clone the phone. Find the burner phone and all that. I'm sorry this is happening to you. I'm in a difficult place right now, trying to figure out what's best for me and our relationship. I appreciate your suggestion about uncovering the truth, but I'm unsure if I'm ready to take such invasive steps. It's a lot to process, and I'm hoping that through communication and therapy, we can work through this without resorting to more drastic measures. I'll consider all options and try to make the best decision for myself. Thank you for your support during this challenging time. You don't have to decide now if you want to stay. You can simply decide you are willing to try couples counseling. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't try to salvage the relationship, I'm just pointing out you don't have to make the final decision to stay right now, but if you choose to leave now, that's it. You are allowed to take your time and sit with this for a while and decide you can't move on and leave in 6 months or a year. Don't feel like you have to be certain today. Taking some time to process everything and considering counseling sounds like a reasonable approach. I appreciate your reminder that I don't have to rush into a decision. It's a lot to take in, and having the space to figure out what's best for me is reassuring. I'll consider taking that time to evaluate and see how I feel as I navigate this situation. Thank you for your support and understanding. Girl, it's time to drop the hammer. Your husband's been playing you like a fiddle with those love letters from his childhood crush. He's been keeping secrets and betraying your trust, and that's a major red flag. Couples therapy might help, but you gotta ask yourself if you are willing to stick around for all the drama. Don't let him string you along, you deserve better, Queen. Couples counseling is likely your best option here. He does not sound checked out of the relationship at all, and you appear to still be interested in the relationship, so not checked out. That is typically the key for couples counseling to work, that one of the parties cannot be checked out already. You are going to find it hard to get past this. One thing that might help you is that this entire thing was fiction. This was all based on a fantasy. The memory of a crush, nothing more. The entire thing is just stupid on his part. He probably didn't think it was all that big of a deal because it wasn't physical. Just playing along with a fantasy. Guys tend to be like that, as long as it is not physical it is not as bad. We kinda suck. Of course, it does matter to you and it is a big deal. Story 2. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a little over 2 years and he recently suggested taking a break for 2 weeks. How can I save our relationship so this break doesn't end in a breakup? Hi everyone. I'm honestly at a loss here and don't know what to do. My boyfriend and I met in college 2 years ago and recently we both graduated and moved back home with our families, about 3 hours away from each other. The first year of our relationship we spent all of our free time together and hung out every single day and we'd even go on dates at least once a week. For most of the second year of our relationship we decided to move in together and we naturally spent every single day together and also kept up our weekly dates. It was all great until we went long distance after graduating. I'll be honest, I know it was my fault, but at the time I just didn't realize what I was doing to our relationship. He says that I made him feel like he wasn't enough for me and that the relationship was dragging him down more than it was lifting him up. The reason he says this is because almost every week I was upset about something and demanded that he changed what he was doing or we would be done. These are his words. For instance, once I said I didn't feel like I was included in his life and I said to fix that I want him to call me every day, as well as update me with what he's doing throughout his day, and that's what I would need in order to continue the relationship. At the time, I didn't really realize the impact of these ultimatums or how unrealistic these expectations were. Honestly, my parents have never been together my entire life and no one in my family has had a relationship that I've looked up to, so I didn't have a good example of relationships growing up, so I think this may have been a reason why I thought ultimatums were okay, but after seeing their impact I now know that they're not. I didn't see what I was doing as wrong or as demands, and if I had known that would make him feel like there's nothing he can do to make me happy, then I would have gone about expressing my concerns another way and in some situations realized their source and worked on it within myself. He didn't communicate the way I was making him feel to me until we had our last big fight that ended with him suggesting we take a break. I don't blame him for not directly communicating how he felt with me. He obviously was just trying to make me happy, and upon some self-reflection the last few days, I realized that the reason I was being so demanding of him was because I just felt like I was being left behind and that he'd forget about me. I don't know why I thought that he would forget me, but his life when I was away became his full-time job, the gym, and his new gym friends, while mine was being stuck in my room all day job searching, or making busy work for myself by doing various hobbies. I don't have much money, which is why I am job searching and why I don't go out. My boyfriend lets me buy some things for my hobbies which are expensive. I knit, sew, and oil paint, but he doesn't make a lot of money to be able to afford completely supporting me. As far as long distance goes, we would see each other every 2 weeks or so, sometimes less and sometimes more, and it would be for about 3 to 5 days at a time, and I'd stay at his family's home. He's also going to move for medical school in like May/June-ish, most likely out of state, depending on where he gets in, and our plan has always been to live together when he's in medical school. After our big fight, that was 3 days ago, that led to this break conversation, I realized that the issue was me and how I was feeling and not him, because he was doing everything right in our relationship. This break conversation was something that lasted 2 days and was finally decided on yesterday. Over these 2 days we were discussing our relationship, how I made him feel, and I apologized. Prior to our last big fight we had a long talk about how our relationship was changing, and specifics weren't really discussed, and it was again focused on how I wanted him to change, and we agreed to give our relationship one last shot. Then our big fight happened a week later, where I was upset because he didn't call me once and he felt as though he had been doing everything right but forgot one time, and it was a huge blow up. Again, I admit I overreacted, and this did come from that same place of fear of being forgotten about. He says that because we had this conversation of one last go that he's hesitant to then try again, which I understand. Yesterday I listened to him tell me how I made him feel and I apologized. I also explained why, and I did so in a way that very clearly wasn't me making excuses or trying to justify it, but rather offer an explanation, because he was wondering if this was my new persona, when really being demanding is not me at all, it just came from a place of fear. I wasn't like this for the entirety of our relationship until we got to long distance, and he's never given me a reason not to trust him. He said that his gut feeling was telling him to not jump back into things with me, although he does appreciate my apology, the things I've said, and he said he also does believe me when I say that wasn't me and that I can change. Anyways, now we're taking a break, and he said he just needs time to heal and that he still loves me. I asked him if he's sure time is what he needs and if he'll ever be able to be in a relationship with me, and his response was that he loves me and he hopes so. He said we should take a break and be friends during this time, which to him means we are still talking during the break and are both not single, because he doesn't know how much time he needs, so I suggested we revisit the conversation in 2 weeks to see what he's thinking. I suggested 2 weeks because we were planning on spending Thanksgiving together regardless of the outcome of our relationship, and that would be the first time I've seen him in a month, so I wanted to have a talk before then. During this break, even though I know it's only been a day so far, it feels like forever. We are still friendly and texting and calling each other as normal, and we have clarified that during this break we aren't single people. I have his credit card information and he still encourages me to buy what I need, etc. We still say good morning, good night, and I love yous. We even lightly talk about the future together. For example, I am taking some local CC courses that are prerequisites for nursing school, and one of the medical schools he got into has an accelerated BSN program that I would like to go to, so we have talked about the potential of me being in nursing school while he's in medical school. I love him and he's my first healthy relationship and the longest relationship I've ever had. He's the person that I know I want to be with for the rest of my life, and I'm kicking myself for being the reason it potentially ends. We are just so compatible and I would hate to break up over something like this. So far, I think that it's best to steer away from heavy relationship talk while we're on a break, and I've also told him that I'm treating this break as a way to show him how I will be in the relationship going forward so that he knows I am capable of changing. For me, changing is easy because I love him and would never want to hurt him, and especially because I've been able to identify why I was behaving a certain way and I wish I had done so sooner. This break hasn't been easy on me either. Since our big fight and talks of taking a break, I have been sleeping for 12 hours a day, I can't eat, and it's impossible to distract myself. I hate that I made him feel the way that I did, and I would do anything to fix it. It seems like he's been able to keep busy all day and such, so I have had moments where I have those same feelings of him forgetting about me, especially now more than ever, with the uncertainty of the relationship, and I've been able to cope by simply just texting him asking about how his day is going or trying to distract myself from this feeling instead of being angry at his lack of texts or calls to me. I know I should have done this sooner and had this realization sooner. I am kicking myself too. I just want to know if there's something more I should say to him when the day comes that we have our big relationship talk. Is there something I haven't said that I should have? I also want to know if being friends during the breakup and me changing would make him think that we're better as friends and break up with me, rather than him thinking that I'm capable of change and being his girlfriend as well. I guess I'm also unsure what taking a break and being friends would do for him, and I don't understand it because to me it feels like he would then think everything is better as friends and proceed to break up with me, expecting us to stay friends. I don't know if I could handle talking to him every day and being friends if we broke up. It would hurt me too much, but also a world where I'm not talking to him would hurt as well. How can I save my relationship? I'm literally willing to do anything. Or do y'all think he's going to break up with me anyways? I've always thought breaks were guaranteed breakups, so I just really don't want this to be the case.